Desert cottontails browse the vegetation along the washes, as black-throated sparrows forage in the shrubs for their next savory meal. The desert comes alive when you slow down and begin to listen.
Everything you just saw was shot and filmed exclusively on an iPhone. You don't need a bunch of expensive gear and cameras, lenses, tripods, and all that stuff to be able to tell good stories. So I kind of wanted to take a little moment in this episode to dive into why you don't need such expensive gear to tell good wildlife stories.
My name is Alan Lacey, and I'm a wildlife filmmaker, cameraman, and producer. I've worked on shows for National Geographic, PBS Nature, Disney Plus, and the BBC. Join me as I explore the amazing world of nature and show you what it's like filming the wild.
Thank you for stopping by the channel today. For those of you who aren't familiar with my work, I'm a wildlife filmmaker and documentary storyteller. And over the years, I've had the privilege of working on different documentaries and shows for the BBC, National Geographic, PBS Nature. And when I started in this industry as a new filmmaker, I didn't have access to any camera equipment or any way of actually going out and telling stories. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a step back and go back to those roots and reimagine what it would take to tell a good story without any good equipment. So if you've ever thought like you need a big camera, you need to take your storytelling to that next level and go out and buy expensive gear, and you think that's your roadblock to being able to tell a good story and kind of get to that next level as a filmmaker, I have news for you. You can do incredible things using just your iPhone, a GoPro, whatever the camera systems that you have. That's the best available system that you can utilize, so use it. I would highly suggest stressing, if you're going to focus on anything, it's the storytelling. You can tell incredibly good stories as long as you have the ability to understand what goes into telling a good story, the components of a great story in the sense of like your story arcs from the beginning, middle, and end. The filming part, that's just literally, you're just putting that into a visual way that you can represent that story. So if you have a good story, that's what's going to make your films so much better. So I challenged myself to get out into the field, spend some time in nature, and capture a good story. And I'll be kind of honest, like it was a fun challenge. I went out into the desert here nearby where I live, and I spent several hours just out in nature. I kind of have a shot list that I wanted to capture. I knew I wanted to tell a story about a desert wash, about the wildlife, at least the ones I could see within the short period of time that I'm there, and how the species interact with the landscape itself. So that's kind of the premise that I went off of, and I went out into nature to capture it. And I'll let you guys kind of be the judge of how that works. I didn't use a tripod or anything, just wanted to utilize it in the way that I feel like most people are probably gonna use their cell phones. They sit there and they hold it and try to keep it as steady as possible. Obviously you can use tripods if you have it, but I wanted to keep it basic and simple. So without further ado, let's roll that video now.
Life in the desert. For many desert species, life revolves around the dry riverbeds and washes. During heavy rains, these washes disperse excess water across the landscape, providing a safe haven for many species. With the added moisture comes a boom in plant life. And the local pollinators, like these bees, reap the benefits of this revitalized ecosystem. Arizona is home to over 1,300 different bee species, making it one of the most biodiverse ecosystems for bees in the world. The desert can be a harsh place to survive, But even when drought-resistant plants die, they provide a multitude of life-giving support for countless species of insects, bacteria, and protection for small mammals. The skeletal remains of a saguaro can stay standing for years, a gentle reminder of the circle of life in the desert. Even the prickly joints from a jumping cholla serve a purpose. Not only do they protect the main cholla plant itself from anything that may harm it, but they can provide a layer of defense for small mammals, like the pack rat that uses these segments of cholla to armor their homes from intruders like coyotes. Desert washes provide a slight reprieve from the surrounding areas. Species like this side-blotched lizard use the endless supply of rocks and sand to energize themselves from the warmth of the sun. The desert is surprisingly full of life. You just need to know where to look. Desert cottontails browse the vegetation along the washes, as black-throated sparrows forage in the shrubs for their next savory meal. The desert comes alive when you slow down and begin to listen. And once you begin listening, you will hear what it has to tell you. You will begin to see the incredible biodiversity that is all around you. So the next time you're out in nature, stop and listen, and discover how nature will reveal itself to you.
All right, so as you can tell, using my phone, there's little things that you can probably notice about the quality of the footage, which obviously is because it's an iPhone. Like stability and stuff, like doing pans as you move through. There's going to be a little wobble with the way that you move your camera. So those kind of things you can minimize by just taking smooth, simple breaths. And as you move through, just slow motion like this can help eliminate some of that. There's still going to be little jitters. But in terms of story and in terms of telling this particular one, I gave myself 2 to 3 hours out into the Sonoran Desert, like I said, nearby my house, and focused on capturing the relationship between the landscape, the desert washes that move through the area, the plant life, and when you stop and you listen and you just really take a moment to listen to what the desert's telling you, nature, doesn't matter where you are, if you're in a forest, if you just take a moment to stop and listen, you'll hear suddenly it comes alive. And if you can listen to that relationship and look for those opportunities to capture those moments on film. So when I went out into the desert, I knew I likely was going to be able to see desert cottontails, likely was going to see hummingbirds, likely going to see other bird species, etc. So knowing that, I was focused on trying to get those moments when they came to me. The cool thing was that I happened to stumble across some bees, and they were doing their busy pollinating flowers. So that allowed me to be able to capture a new sequence that I hadn't thought about. So when you're filming for sequences, you want to think about how are you going to break down the shots and be able to tell that story visually. So in terms of the bees, I wanted to introduce them, so I had to find a plant where you don't necessarily see the bees, but you are now bringing into the story. So you'll notice the creosote with the flowers. In the next shot, you see the bee on the flower. So now you've been introduced to the story. And since you don't have like macro lenses and all the different things, you got to be able to reposition yourself, whether farther away to get a wider push in, get a more close-up shot. iPhones have the ability to have multiple different lenses you can utilize. So you can zoom in a little bit. The quality does degrade a little, so just know that. But again, you're telling a story here. You're not worried about the high level cinematic quality. Now iPhones can do that. to a degree. So knowing your equipment also is a big component in how you tell your stories. You're not going to get that telephoto zoom look. So if you know that going in, it helps you know how to tell that story and capture that kind of footage. So the things that I've really focused on was, I went out in the late afternoon, so the light was starting to change from the harsh midday light towards the evening light when it becomes a little softer, which is good for visual storytelling. You don't want that harsh light in the middle of the day. So going out in a period of time when you have that better light, and there's a little slightly overcast as well, the thin layer of clouds, which also helped soften the light a bit more. Along with that is like thinking about the different compositions. If you're trying to place yourself into the story, you're gonna want some wider landscapes, some scenic shots to bring the viewer into the landscape that you're telling a story about. So you'll notice those shots that start out at the beginning. You see kind of like this opening shot of the tree branch. It kind of brings you into this mode of like, hey, we're in the desert. And it cuts to the wash because I want to introduce the wash story about how water gets moved through and it provides life for animals in the desert. So that's how I sequenced into the story itself. So when you're telling a story with an iPhone or another smaller camera that doesn't necessarily give you the opportunity to get close to wildlife, think about ways that you can allow wildlife to come close to you. So if you hold still and you stay in one place for a while, let yourself kind of be acclimated into the landscape, eventually the wildlife comes and you'll start noticing the animals that are around you. Hence where I was able to film the cottontail that was nearby, as well as the black-throated sparrow that was there. So that actually was cool because I was able to get pretty close to that. I mean, I was within probably 3 feet of that sparrow. So when you get the ability to become kind of one with nature, nature reveals itself in so many incredible ways, and the opportunities to tell those stories increase exponentially. So as you can see, this film is not going to go out and win any major awards or anything, but it's just there to showcase. You can tell a good story if you take the time, think it through. What are you trying to say? Write down your shot list that you want to capture, and then go out with an action plan into the field and film that story. You can do pretty incredible things with GoPros, with small DSLRs, or cameras with fixed body lenses, etc., or even your iPhones or Androids. These are all great tools to be able to tell good stories. So if you're someone who's ever wanted to make wildlife films or documentaries, I just want to say you don't need the expensive gear and cameras. This is really all you need. And then the ability to think about how to tell a good story. And I would highly stress focusing on, really crafting your storytelling techniques, because that's what's going to separate you as a filmmaker from the rest of the crowd. If you can tell a good story and you can use something like an iPhone, GoPro, those are the things that are going to take you places. So if you can practice and kind of cut your teeth on how to tell a good story utilizing the equipment that you have, and not worry so much about getting that expensive gear because you think that's going to be the thing that's going to make you a really good filmmaker. If you can focus on the story components and craft good stories using the equipment you have, again, that's what sets you apart from the rest of the crowd. If this kind of thing is interesting to you, I did create an online course. It's the Introduction to Wildlife Filmmaking, where we go step by step along the journey of what it takes to make a wildlife documentary. If that's something of interest to you and you'd like to kind of sharpen your skills and get deeper into the understanding of what it takes to make a wildlife film, highly recommend taking that course. It's just $99. You can register right here, right now, and you can start taking that class right away. And in the course itself, we actually go through and help design and build a film using something like your phone or whatever gear you have. And you're willing to go through the course, and then I am right there alongside you the entire time if you have any questions, you can always reach out. So I'm excited about the opportunity to give you guys the tools, the things that I didn't have when I first started out. I wish I could have had something like this, to be honest. It would have made the journey to becoming a wildlife filmmaker so much easier. I wouldn't have pulled my hair out so many times. So if I can help eliminate those stresses for you guys, that means the world to me. So if that interests you, there's a link in the description below. I'll be doing more courses like this down the road, so be sure to also subscribe to this channel if you want to stay up to date on those processes moving forward. All right, well, I hope this video has been super helpful for you guys and that it's given you some inspiration to kind of like move forward in your wildlife journeys if that's what you're out to try to do. And again, I hope it's helped clarify that you don't need expensive cameras and drop $1,500 on a DSLR or $2,000 on a lens, tripod, all these things. It's expensive. You know, they're great tools for sure. But really, if you focus on telling a good story and you really like put your efforts into how to craft those stories, you can do so much better and go so much further using the equipment that you have. And then when you do eventually get to that point where you can get to those bigger systems and cameras, it's just so much better for you. If you found this episode helpful and you'd like to see more content like this, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought. What did you learn from this video? What are things that you'd like to learn more about? Go ahead and leave those comments below. I'd love answering all of your questions and engaging with you guys. And speaking of which, if you want to engage more with me, I do have a Patreon channel where you can join that. There's different tiers of membership from free all the way up to paid, of course. And those offer different access levels to either to myself, the content that I'm producing, or more tips and tricks, etc., of how to like get around certain hurdles when you're making films. It's more of a direct one-on-one access there. Or you're also welcome to take the course too, which is kind of more at your own pace, whatever you want to do in terms of how much you want to dive in. If you want to like really binge through it and get through all the whole course, you're welcome to do that. And again, I'm right there beside you the entire way, and we can interact that way too. So anyways, hope this whole concept of what it takes to tell a good story and you can do it with your phones has been helpful. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It kind of helps boost this metrics. Share it with your friends and family, others, or those who are interested in filmmaking. That would help a lot too. Yeah, so if you want to hear more stuff like this, go ahead and let me know. And in the meantime, I'll be out there telling good stories, finding new opportunities to connect with you guys. So I enjoy this. This is kind of what I think is my calling, is to be able to help people get into wildlife filmmaking and opening those doors for other people to be able to tell stories, because I think the natural world needs all of our help. So anyways, keep an eye out for the next episode of Filming the Wild.